Hello everyone, Andy Schwab here with your Farm and Ranch News. Montana Farm Bureau has expressed some strong concern at the proposal by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to remove agriculture from refuge lands. MFBF's president Cindy Johnson told me that more than 22 wildlife refuges in Montana, such as the CM Russell Wildlife Refuge, the impact of removing or restricting agriculture use will be significant and economically devastating, especially with a land manager that is not in tune with the area.
It's a hard process for people to be able to qualify to graze or farm in those areas, but the rules that they proposed are going to make it that much more difficult. If they don't have a refuge manager who is in tune with agriculture and good science, then that will further complicate their ability to farm and ranch in those areas.
Now, Montana Farm Bureau has requested that the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service put the proposed changes on hold and re-engage with impacted stakeholders in the agriculture, conservation, wildlife, and rural communities. And the USDA this past Friday released their latest World Ag Supply and Demand Estimates report, along with their first crop production report of the year. For Montana, winter wheat production is forecast at 86.95 million bushels, according to the May 1st Agricultural Yield Survey. This forecast is 1% above last year's realized production of 85.6 million bushels and 46% above the 59.9 million bushels that the crop produced just 2 years ago. Now, zooming out to the national level, winter wheat production is forecast at 1.28 billion bushels, which is a jump of 2% year over year. Well, we need to take a break, but we'll see how that impacted the ag markets in a little bit.
I represent a lot of what ranchers' wives are, where they marry into the family. Coming into established ranch, the expectations of that is just absolutely overwhelming. You know, there's always stress with all families, but when you're not dealing with the stress outwardly, it will definitely impact everyone inwardly. You might feel alone, but you're not alone.
Welcome back, friends, to your Ag News in your markets. I'm Andy Schwab. Well, beef industry leaders from across the U.S. were in South Korea and Japan this past week examining U.S. Meat Export Federation activities to promote U.S. beef in the region. Cattlemen's Beef Board Chairman Andy Bishop says the group has seen firsthand how the promotions are building carcass value.
You know, that's something that back in the States we have a hard time understanding is what are residents consuming here in South Korea and Japan, and it's short plate, short rib, chuck roll, chuck flat tail, those type products that we wouldn't normally see at home and don't consume much at home, but they can send those over here and add value to that carcass. And the way they prepare those, I actually called my butcher while I was here and said, hey, no more short ribs the way we do them at home. I want mine thinly sliced like they've got them here in South Korea because they're pretty amazing.
The promotional activities have led to a positive impact on carcass value, as the latest export results showed beef export value reached nearly $890 million and equated to $454 per head of fed slaughter. And packers were once again very aggressive in purchasing their cattle needed last week, as the summer grilling season is starting to surface. Of the 87,000 head purchased in the negotiated markets, 67% of those were committed for that 2-week delivery. And last week's test at Montana Livestock was a good test of cull cows and heifers. Today, the sale barn in Ramsey is expecting a good test of pairs and bred cows as well. Newell Sheepyard sounded off with a small test last week, as cull ewes held that 70 cents per pound money when they had the good flesh. And despite the winter wheat futures hitting new highs yesterday, the cash grains did not exactly follow suit. Spring wheat, on the other hand, did so, with a 20-cent gain on the board and on the cash values as well. Well, there's a look at your ag markets. I'm Andy Schwab. Have a great rest of your day.